everybody. This is Bob from Buckeye Sports Center. Today we're going to take a look at the Lund 2025 1650 Rebel XL SS. So this is the side console Rebel boat, which is a 16.5-foot boat. It's kind of an iconic model in the Lund line. The Rebel's been around for many, many years. And quite frankly, it's one of the better values on the market for what you get for the money. But the nice thing I like about this boat, you know, Lund's obviously a premium brand, heavy, you know, high-end, heavy-duty construction, all that. And this model, even though it's a little bit more value conscious, still has all the core, all the DNA of the higher end boats. So pretty much all the features that you hear about the higher end boats from a construction standpoint and all that filters all the way down to this level, which is pretty awesome. So, you know, first thing I like to point out, the primary feature of all the Lund boats is going to be IPS hull construction. So the IPS hull, basically, long story short, and there's other videos that show this more in detail, but we see a very, very deep V in the front portion of the boat, up, you know, back to the midship area, and that's going to be your entry point where you're hitting the waves, that type of stuff. And then as you get to the middle point of the boat kind of flattens out a little bit, becomes more of like a flatter boat, more of a pad setup, and that makes the boat a lot more stable side to side, makes it so the boat is not wobbly, you know, it makes it so it's stable when you're getting up on plane and it's not, you know, walking side to side. So so that hull configuration is you know, known for on all the Lunds, but obviously it goes down to the Rebel. The other nice thing is on this boat, this one does have a double plated bow, so you've got two thicknesses of aluminum on the bottom in the bow area. So again, heavy duty construction for impact zones. If you hit a big wave hitting the wrong way, you've got a little bit more protection there. So all of those features are included on the Rebel, even at this price point. I also point out, since we're out here, you know, Lund does a great job with their trailers, some upgraded feet, you know, swing tongue is standard, heavy duty winch stand. The Lund guard protection on the outside of the frame makes it so it's a lot, you know, harder to chip the, you know, chip the paint and that type of stuff. And then also upgraded for 2025, brand new upgraded wheels, you know, makes the boat look a lot sharper. All right, we move inside the 1650 Rebel. Again, one of the things I really like about this boat, and in general this is a common feature with Lund, is how open and wide and big the cockpit seems. You know, there's a lot of space in here, even though we are only in a 16.5-foot boat. But, you know, Lund's, you know, construction, a lot of times, you know, when you look at other models, you look at an overhead shot of the boat, you look at the transom area and it kind of narrows up. You know, the widest point of this boat is kind of right in the center, and that width maintains throughout the middle of the boat, so it makes the boat feel a lot bigger. So that's why this boat does feel wider than most of the competition. You know, we've got simple configuration here. There's nothing too crazy on the inside from a configuration standpoint. We do have a small raised rear deck. This boat is the first model in the Lund line that does have a built-in fuel tank. This fuel tank's located kind of right where I'm standing. It's a little bit more forward than most models, the fuel tank location, and that moves a little bit more of that fuel weight a little bit more forward, all right, because it helps the boat get up on plane a little bit easier rather than having all the weight in the back of the boat. Back here we just have two storage compartments, one's for a battery on the port side here, and on the other side is just an open storage compartment. We do have a nice 4-step stainless steel boarding ladder, you know, on this model. So overall, pretty good. And then your rod locker is located here on the port side. And I like how you see how it's got two steps to it, so you can separate your handles and your rods a little bit. You know, put them in an area, and you could probably have 6 in there pretty easily, 3 on each shelf without really getting into each other. So, you know, kind of a small, simple design rather than just having an open compartment. You've got a little bit of organization there. As we move into the driver's area, the driver's seat, I'll point out the fact that now Lund is standard with these Pro Ride seats on every model. So if you looked at a Rebel from a couple years ago, it had the standard seat, and now this is the Pro Ride seat that you get all the way up the line. So it's a really, really comfortable seat. I like how it's got, it's pretty easy to maneuver around and move your legs and stuff like that. You know, we look at the console area, I've got all kinds of leg room here. In this boat, for me, I'm a little bit bigger guy. You know, conveniently located throttle control. This particular boat's set up with the optional stereo, so the stereo control's right here. Your speakers are back kind of in the transom area right there. So again, that's an optional feature on this boat. But you know, I've got speed, RPM, trim, and fuel gauges really conveniently located. Again, there's a cell phone holder over here, charging ports here. And one thing again, you know, it's interesting with the way people will use these boats here at Buckeye. You'll notice we don't put an electronics package on this model, and that's kind of similar to a lot of other models. And that basically allows the customer to pick what they want. I know other brands, you know, they'll have like a set electronics package, and then you're like, well, I really want something better or whatever. You know, we kind of let you choose that. So you can get a pretty simple, economical package if you want to get the price down, or if you want to get the fanciest, coolest iPilot control, you know, all kinds of stuff on the GPS, bigger screens. You can put as big a screen as you want on this boat, all right? There's plenty of space for it, rather than just having like a little pocket over here where you can maybe put a 5 or 7 inch screen. You can definitely do a 5 or 7 inch screen on here, that's fine, but you could put a 12 inch on here too. So it gives you some flexibility in how to use the boat. Move to the bow area, and we've got a very, very large live well up here. Okay, so very, very large open live well. There's also the battery for your trolling motor located up here, again, to balance some of that weight so you get some of the weight forward. All right, so large live well. There's a little bait well insert if you wanted to add a bait bucket. And then 2 very large storage compartments up here. That's, you know, we've got, actually this boat's actually wired up to a 24-volt trolling motor. That's an option, so you can get a 24-volt unit up here on the trolling motor side if you'd like. So overall, you know, nice big wide open deck. Again, on a 16-foot boat, there's not a ton of space you can really, you know, use or mess with, but on this boat it's pretty roomy. Other little things, and again, I'm not going to get into all the features on this boat, but you know, pop-up cleats is a standard feature. That's kind of cool. And then, like all the Lunds, we've got the nice Sport Track accessory bracket. All right, so you can put all kinds of different cup holders, tools, rod holder type things in this track without drilling a hole. And then the cover that comes with this boat clips into an outer rail rather than having, again, traditional snaps or some type of tie down to the trailer. You've got a cool cover system that's a little bit quicker and easier to use. So from a power perspective on this 1650 Rebel, most of the boats that we sell in this model, we typically will sell with like a Mercury 60 horsepower. However, the maximum horsepower is 75, so this particular boat's equipped with a 75, so this one's maxed out. So the 1650 SS, which is the side console model, maxes out at 75 horsepower. If you got this model in a sport model, which is going to have the full windshield all the way across, which is obviously available as well, that one's going to max out at a 90 horsepower. So again, it depends on what you want to do, but this boat with a 60 runs very well for probably 80–90% of the people in the application they want to use. But if you did opt and want for a little bit more power, obviously there's nothing wrong with that. You can max this out to the 75 horsepower like this particular boat has. So, you know, either way, you're going to get overall, you know, very good, very solid performance. But if you want that little extra, maybe, you know, you're fishing with 3 or 4 people, maybe they're heavier people more of the time. You know, you might want to opt to get the bigger motor. But again, that's a smaller percentage of people will need that. The other option is, from this model, you can upgrade to the 1675 Adventure, okay, which is going to have a little bit wider, a little bit more features. That boat typically will be rated for a 90 horsepower, so sometimes you get to compare the price points of what this boat's going to do with the 75 versus maybe upgrading to a 1675 Adventure SS with a 90 horsepower. So that's kind of the decision you can work through and see what you want to make there. So again, bottom line, all the cool Lund features, you know, from a construction standpoint, IPS hull, double-plated bow construction, you know, Sport Track system, Sport Track covers, you know, again, great space utilization, great consoles, awesome seats. It really is a great package, and you know, this particular boat's probably going to be a little bit more expensive than some of the more value brands, but the gap is so small that it really is worth taking a look at. And honestly, the user experience and the customer experience fishing on this model compared to, you know, the competition that maybe is $500 less, maybe they're $1,000 less, something along those lines. You know, it really does set it apart. Plus, as everybody knows, the Lund resale value is king in this segment. So, you know, you might pay $1,000 more for this model versus brand X, but when you go to sell it in 5 years, you're going to get $2,000 more for it because it is a Lund. So that's always something to remember as well. So thanks for checking out the Lund 1650 Rebel with us at Buckeye Sports Center. For more information, visit our website, buckeyesportscenter.com, to view our inventory. Check out our YouTube page where we post videos like this for many different Lund models. Subscribe to that page, and we'll see you on the water.